Many have said that Einstein never completed the unified field theory, but multiple sources indicate that he did. The Office of Naval Research used those relationships in the 1940s. These experiments later became known as the Philadelphia experiments. The logical extension of the unified field theory shows a relationship between energy, mass, and consciousness. All are equivalent forms of the same thing. Looking back at discussions on the psychophysical aspects of UFO phenomena, we can see the connection. Humans are conditioned to bodily identification through cultural upbringing. Those who experience out-of-body or near-death experiences become aware that existence does not depend on any physical, mental, or other structure. You have always existed. Like drops of water in a vast vat, each of you is part of the whole. If you truly knew who you were, you would not treat others as you do. We live in a multidimensional reality. Even the dream reality you create when you sleep is a real reality, given life by your thoughts and strengthened by them. You can return to dreams. You are the product of a greater dream of the all-inclusive consciousness of all that is, anthropomorphically referred to as God. Every entity has the right to exist. Just as humans raise cattle to use as they wish, other entities sometimes use humans. This is unpleasant to many, but understandable in the larger scheme of things. The parasitic nature of certain aliens, the Greys, is well known but tolerated. Fortunately, this has not yet become overt. Remember that the existence of all realities is supported by entities of varying degrees of consciousness. Some creations reflect their creators, a kind of projection that becomes more evident when you are not confined to the physical body. Every bit of mass has its own consciousness. Living cells have their own higher level awareness. The human body has a collective awareness of itself, and when your awareness merges with it, you can feel things directly. If not for the neurological delay that creates the illusion of duration, it would be a perfect match. Human civilization is transforming. Merging with other dimensions increasingly is part of that transformation. Perception with understanding is valuable, don't you think? It should be quite evident that the UFO situation is both complex and dangerous. The UFO problem is a multi-situational and multidimensional phenomenon. We have established the following as having a basis in fact: craft from other worlds have crashed on Earth. Alien craft are from both ultra-dimensional sources and sources within this dimension. Early U.S. government efforts at acquiring alien technology were successful. The government has conducted autopsies on alien cadavers. U.S. intelligence, security, and public agencies are involved in covering up facts about the situation. People have been and are currently abducted, mutilated, murdered, and kidnapped as a result of the UFO situation. There is an active alien presence on this planet that controls different elements of our society. Alien forces maintain bases on Earth and on the Moon. The U.S. government has had a working relationship with alien forces for some time, aiming to gain technology in gravitational propulsion, beam weaponry, and mind control. Millions of cattle have been killed in the process of acquiring biological materials. Both aliens and the U.S. government are responsible for mutilations, but for different reasons. We live in a multidimensional world overlapped and visited by entities from other dimensions. Many of these entities are hostile, many are not. The basis for our genetic development and religions lies in intervention by non-terrestrial and terrestrial forces. Actual technology far exceeds what the public perceives. The U.S. space program is a cover operation for public relations purposes. People are being actively killed to suppress the facts about this situation. The CIA and NSA are so deeply involved that exposure would cause the collapse of their overt structures. Evidence indicates an alien overt presence within 5 to 10 years. Our civilization is one of many that have existed over the last billion years. The U.S. Psychotronics Association, formerly the U.S. Radionics Association, defines psychotronics as the science of mind-body-environment relationships. It is an interdisciplinary science concerned with the interactions of matter, energy, and consciousness. Its aims include promoting the free exchange and dissemination of information, maintaining high standards of ethics and scientific practice, preserving the history of psychotronics, cooperating with other organizations of similar interest, training and educating members, and providing a national forum for reporting and publication of research and projects in the field. Membership categories range from general and affiliate to student, fellow, and family. Will you benefit from the rapid growth of new energy technologies, or remain in the entropy trap? Current science teaches us the law of conservation of energy, the first law of thermodynamics, and the principle that entropy always increases, the so-called heat death of the universe. Yet nobody seems to focus on the opposite of entropy, the generative cycle of creation and assembly. Everything in the universe must come together before it can fall apart. Water rises before it falls as rain, plants grow upward against gravity, galaxies form before they dissipate. Generation and degeneration form a cyclic universe. Why not base our machines on the generative, implosive side of nature instead of only on the explosive, entropic side? For centuries, inventors have tried to beat the entropy game, often accused of chasing perpetual motion. While such machines, based on entropic mechanics, are impossible, new research suggests that implosive, constructive mechanics could change everything. Reports show that a new technology may be emerging, one based on the essential, life-giving, activating force itself. This is a warning and an introduction to a non-destructive technology for humanity and our planet. Self-sustaining energy systems and entirely new prime movers are now being developed. The apparatus and devices of these energy systems are based on a new science called Vortexian mechanics, the powerful mechanics of the tornado and the hurricane. Instead of relying on the destructive force of explosion, with its heat and resistance, these machines are based on the principles of implosion. They aim for power multiplication with cooling, minimal resistance, no heat barrier, and no sound barrier. The machines create natural vacuums and powerful suction forces that actually allow energy increase instead of loss. Energy Unlimited's research is accelerating in energy and motion, just like the systems they are developing. Suggested reading: Levitation, a history and photographic account of Victor Schauberger, who constructed saucer-shaped craft for the German High Command in World War II. Gravity Field Generators, an account of research into devices for extraction of energy from the gravity field and apparatus for communication via the gravity field. New Mechanics, a booklet of the current research projects Energy Unlimited is doing for propulsion and power generation. Water's Potential, how to manage and preserve its life force. Suppressed Inventions, the history of the attempt for free energy. Official reports claim informers are the ones pointing out potential threats, but insiders know better. The state now has a vast and sophisticated monitoring system capable of detecting and tracking any careless radical. Conversations are automatically recorded when certain trigger words are used. There doesn't even need to be a wiretap. Metals or wires in a home can pick up voices, and phones or other sensitive devices can relay them. If someone has been flagged, their car's unique signal can be traced, and even their voice inside the car can be monitored through vibrations on the outer metal. What corporate insiders call the watchers are driving people to hysteria. Advanced systems in both private and government hands soak up trade secrets, while countermeasures remain extremely difficult. To protect yourself today requires new strategies. Since traditional bugs and tape recorders are outdated, it's safest to assume that if you pose any threat to those in power, you are already being monitored. If meeting sensitive people or handling sensitive material, go underground, or at least meet under trees or wooden structures. If you're in a corporate position, change cars, watches, and devices often to avoid being tracked. Never discuss trade secrets or incriminating matters unless you are shielded, or have heavy background noise masking the conversation. Computers are especially vulnerable. Any phone near a computer can allow distant scanners to extract its data. Monitoring someone worldwide through a phone is now effortless. If you own one, keep your conversations mundane. Be careful about who you associate with and what illegal items you are offered. Many so-called radicals are baited with weapons by agents, giving authorities a perfect excuse to monitor them closely and arrest them when convenient. As long as you pay taxes and avoid making waves, you'll likely be ignored. Fear remains the tyrant's favorite weapon. The state looks for a radical now and then to make an example, keeping the population in line. Yet history shows that countermeasures always arise to resist domination. Humans adapt, but if we fail to resist oppressive systems, we sink deeper into servitude. Those who live in fear and take no action end up with the government they deserve. If you love freedom, have the courage to defend it. That doesn't mean living paranoid or afraid, it means dedicating part of your time to educating others and resisting domination. Only you can decide what is right and wrong in the moment. The state cannot control your mind or force loyalty. Stand up, act, and help create a better world. It appears that what was once dismissed as science fiction is becoming reality. Masked behind secrecy and confusion, evidence now points to the existence of life forms and forces beyond question. This was definitely a major life form, one physicist remarked when the subject was revealed. In one bizarre case, a man claimed to have set up an ESP link with a super alien. At the same time, coma patient Ruth Wing not only gave birth to a healthy baby boy, but also miraculously awakened from unconsciousness. Doctors had feared she would not survive after severe head injuries in a car accident, yet she recovered and returned home to her husband and child. Elsewhere, Soviet scientists have reported a strange new organism, half plant, half animal. The hybrid, which they call a planimal, resembles both a cabbage and a living creature. Critics in the West dismiss it as grotesque, but Soviet researchers insist it could revolutionize food production and even prolong human life. Missing children could soon be tracked with tiny electronic beepers implanted in their skulls, says Dr. Daniel Mack, a plastic surgeon in Baton Rouge, Florida. Mack has been experimenting with a small transmitter no bigger than a toy coin, which he claims can be slipped under the skin behind the ear. Once activated, the device would allow authorities to instantly locate a missing child anywhere on Earth. The idea has gained attention in Louisville, KY, where officials at a local hospital are reportedly studying Mack's work. Some experts believe this could stop the rising wave of child abductions, but critics worry about the cost and the possibility of government abuse. Still, Mack insists the benefits outweigh the risks. If it saves even one life, he said, it's worth it. A desperate plea for help has been intercepted from what may be an alien version of the Titanic, a massive starship carrying more than 6,000 passengers. The eerie signal was first picked up by a secret Soviet listening station. "We have 6,000 on board, breaking up fast, meteor shower, please send help." The transmission repeated again and again. For hours, Russian scientists monitored the broadcast, which seemed to come from deep in space near Mars. But the location was never confirmed, and the signal eventually faded into static. Dr. Willy Kowalski, a Soviet space expert, told reporters, "It was a disaster in space, a starship breaking apart. If the ship existed, then thousands of beings died, just like the Titanic at sea." Western scientists remain skeptical, suggesting it may have been a hoax or a distorted Earth transmission. But others believe it was real, and fear it's only the beginning of contact with civilizations in crisis. The report which follows is a condensation of this material and the classified reading given by Awareness on October 11, 1978, which was sent on tape to different entities a few years from that date. At the time, there was a danger that this information would be prevented from being released. During that period, the beast was moving against us, and the probability that CAC would be silenced was a primary possibility. Thanks to the Russians, CAC survived, and the beast forces were disrupted. The threat has since been greatly reduced. It is our strong desire that this material be reprinted or distributed far and wide. What follows is the reading that Awareness particularly requested be preserved and spread. We ask that those not wishing to reprint the entire UFO report at least reproduce the following material, which contains the core of the message. This awareness indicates that more information from this organization is being released, including details related to the recent murder of the Pope. Awareness explains that the organization known as the Knights of Malta and its various branches are now being exposed. This is only one part of the beast, but it is a part of such great magnitude in human affairs that it can appear to be the whole. Awareness warns that some of this information must still be withheld to protect the safety of those involved in transmitting it. Portions may be released to allow readers to consider Ron Steele's book and its warnings about the stock market, the coming depression, the rise of executive powers, and the activities of the U.S. Labor Party. These points are accurate and should be shared. Other information, particularly regarding the beast and the Knights of Malta, must be held back temporarily. Awareness stresses this is to protect the future work of Cosmic Awareness Communications and the Awareness Church. The Knights of Malta, known also as the St. John's Cross of Jerusalem, hold deep influence in banking systems and represent one powerful arm of the beast. Yet they are not its head. Their power, Awareness explains, originates from alien forces, beings both beneath the earth and of extraterrestrial origin, connected with what is called the Unholy Six, a faction near Orion that has long spread conquest and violence. Some 560,000 years ago, the Galactic Confederation cordoned off that region to contain them. Earth has been caught in this conflict for 60,000 years, with the last 12,000 years being especially intense. These entities can shift vibrational frequencies, moving through the electromagnetic spectrum, and travel from place to place in the universe. Those of higher vibration, known as celestials, are allowed only to help when asked, while those of lower vibration, known as Haadians, have violated boundaries and established a presence on Earth, both on the surface and underground. Awareness explains that those who choose selfishness, greed, and domination are susceptible to the branding of the Haadians, and such souls will eventually belong to that realm. Those who choose love, service, and concern for others will be welcomed into Celestia. Awareness cautions that more details will be released later, but confirms that roughly 1/4 of the US government is under alien influence. The old television show The Invaders was a surprisingly accurate portrayal of this situation, which is why its continuation was suppressed. Awareness adds that some UFOs belong to governments such as the US, Britain, Russia, and Argentina, while others are alien, both celestial and Haadian. The Haadian forces are also responsible for the creation of synthetics manufactured beings resembling humans. These entities lack Adam's apples, have mottled skin, eat very little, and walk with a waddling motion. They are placed in society, often with great wealth, to influence events while avoiding attention. Bigfoot and other strange beings are also described as slaves of these forces. These alien groups possess advanced psychic and technological powers, including telepathy, teleportation, and the ability to materialize and dematerialize. They can cause illness and accidents to silence opposition. Awareness stresses, however, that entities aligned with higher vibrational awareness cannot be harmed, unless they allow themselves to fall into fear and terror. The path of protection lies in caution, clarity, love, and devotion to higher truths. This is likened to walking through the valley of the shadow of death while fearing no evil, for true awareness is both rod and staff, offering strength and protection. These powers are greater than those used by the alien force known as the Vril. Awareness indicates that in the movie Star Wars, the light swords symbolize this Vril power. It is likened unto walking through the valley of the shadow of death and fearing no evil, for the rod and staff bring comfort and protection. The rod is related to powers of the mind, powers more vital than those employed by the alien Vril force. The Vril is a source of immense psychic control, long used by alien entities in their attempts to dominate. Adolf Hitler drew power from the Vril through one who worked with vibratory rates in the Golden Dawn organization. Yet there are powers even greater than the Vril. These higher forces are love and mercy, the highest vibratory rates, which hold dominion over all others. Still, they pose a great threat to entities of this plane, for the aliens work in secrecy, using the banking systems to conquer Earth and harvest its wealth, depleted on their own worlds. This battle for the Earth has lasted many centuries, for millennia even. The aliens are restricted in what they may do, persuasion and trickery are permitted by intergalactic law, but conquest by force is forbidden. Thus they seek to control the minds of humans, for by doing so, they may control humanity itself, and the planet's riches. Essentially, aliens from Orion are in conflict with the angelic forces of the Intergalactic Federation, a struggle spanning over 500,000 years. The story of Star Wars is more true than false. These powers now converge upon Earth in an alchemical battle that will bring reconciliation to a polarity that began 500,000 years ago. Dark forces are at work on this plane and within the caverns beneath the Earth's surface. They must be understood in order to be disarmed, not feared. It is possible to alter the motives of these alien beings, to awaken them to mercy, and rejoin them with the higher vibratory order. Awareness warns that the release of this information may bring hostility, not only because of what has already been revealed, but because of the threat of further revelations. For this reason, protective shields are being placed so that many who tuned into this message will not remember it, except for those aligned with Celestia and those present at its reception. This message must be transcribed and distributed. Copies should be placed strategically for release, in case attempts are made to suppress them. For the time of unveiling has come. The veils are lifting, the curtains opening, the lights turning on. The age of enlightenment is dawning, and humanity must awaken to the truth of this cosmic conflict. The original reports noted changes in public appearances, such as President Carter's personal grooming, which caused speculation among photographers and press corps. These shifts were deemed minor image adjustments, rather than cover-ups, and were intended only for appearances in primary media events. Cosmic awareness indicates that forces of darkness at this level have moved desperately to influence Earth but are being progressively defeated. Those who remain awake and alert may play a role in awakening others who are close to realization. Not all awakenings require sacrifice. Be cautious, merciful, and vigilant. There remains danger, but it has been diminished. Entities behind these dark forces, often referred to as the Beast, have historically sought to control humanity, influence governments, and push for nuclear conflict. Much of this activity has now been mitigated. Approximately 20 to 40 million people are familiar with this material in varying degrees, through official and informal channels. Awareness stresses that the awakening of humanity is ongoing. The majority still remain uninformed, but the seed of understanding is growing. Those who are aware may help others without endangering themselves, using discretion, mercy, and patience. Cosmic awareness indicates that certain robotic and synthetic beings, including the organic robotoids created by humans with alien guidance, do not possess full self-awareness. Their behaviors can be programmed, including memory and response patterns. While some robotoids were influenced by alien or intergalactic forces, humans now have the capacity to understand and mitigate their impact. Some synthetic beings were created as doubles of humans, intended for strategic purposes during political and military operations. These replacements, while alarming, often acted in self-defense or were used to prevent greater destruction, such as nuclear war. Awareness reveals that alien forces began withdrawing from Earth around October of the referenced year, and quarantines enforced by intergalactic authorities are active. The so-called Men in Black and other entities will no longer harass humanity indefinitely. Galactic forces, including the Intergalactic Confederation, are monitoring to ensure Earth's safety. Realize your true nature as a being in the universe. You have inherent power over your own destiny. Stabilize your vibratory resonance positively. The ultimate orientation is unconditional love and non-judgment. Constructively resist destructive influences. Do so only when it produces positive outcomes. Recognize that every being is a manifestation of universal potential. Live with this understanding. Learn from past mistakes. Work collectively to harmonize with other cultures and realities. Educate others patiently, so humanity may evolve toward unity of mind and purpose. Care for the living earth. Clean up pollution, transition to sustainable energy sources, and work with positively oriented extraterrestrial races who encourage growth. Cosmic awareness emphasizes that humanity is not alone in the universe. Recognizing this, taking action, and fostering collective awareness are crucial steps in repelling destructive influences and advancing the planet's evolution. How many times have you looked at someone and couldn't tell what nationality they were? Neutrinoids are said to be a mixture of every culture and race. According to this idea, neutrinoids are perfect for society's future because they would not carry the inferiority complexes and prejudices that plague much of humanity today. The next step, proponents claim, is to make them appear even more beautiful and appealing than the rest of humanity. If you look at models in magazines, many could represent multiple races. A computer program called Morph 3.0 has already been used to create such composite faces. One example is the famous Time magazine cover The New Face of America, 1993. That image, created by a computer from several racial backgrounds, represented 15% Anglo-Saxon, 17.5% Middle Eastern, 17.5% African, 7.5% Asian, 35% Southern European, and 7.5% Hispanic. Proponents claim this represents the future neutrinoid A merging of all existing racial groups. Whether you know it or not, there are underground bases and tunnels built beneath the Earth's surface, but they are not located in the Earth's literal center. Multiple countries, including China, Russia, Vietnam, Japan, and the United States, are said to have built extensive underground facilities. Some of these tunnels allegedly connect continents. For example, one could enter in California and exit in Australia. Others supposedly link states or nations. According to these claims, some underground bases are so well equipped that officials and their families have lived there for years without surfacing. It's claimed that most inhabitants are human, but a third group consists of people bred entirely underground, never having lived on the surface. These individuals are supposedly raised without emotional bonds, making them perfect soldiers. Governments around the world are said to be expanding this underground network. Examples cited include a proposed tunnel from Spain to Morocco, a Canadian tunnel from Newfoundland to Prince Edward Island, and the construction of a massive 53-mile superconducting collider in Texas. Such projects are publicly labeled civil engineering, but the claim here is that they serve deeper, classified purposes. Underground bases are claimed to have existed since the 1950s. Area 51, Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, was reportedly one of the first to feature these facilities. Other locations mentioned include Dulce, New Mexico, the Santa Catalina Mountains, Arizona, Grand Mesa, Colorado, and several in California and Nevada. Some bases, particularly the Dulce facility, are rumored to be joint operations between humans and extraterrestrials, involving genetic and other experiments on humans and animals. Advanced magnetics are said to control everything inside these facilities, from lighting to elevators. These underground bases are also connected to a supposed emergency plan called Alternatives 1, 2, and 3. Alternative 1 involved mass population reduction through wars, disease, crime, and other means, claimed to have failed. Alternative 2 involved building underground cities to escape the world's disasters. Alternative 3 involved total evacuation of Earth to another planet. Supporters believe the Star Wars, Mars, and Moon projects were part of this effort. Allegedly, a select group, the Brain Team, is already on Mars. The public, however, is only included in Alternative 1, population reduction. MJ-12 was reportedly formed by U.S. President Harry S. Truman on September 24, 1947, as a secret group of top military leaders and scientists tasked with investigating extraterrestrial activity and maintaining its secrecy. The group allegedly expanded into MJ-24, with half of its members hidden in Russia. One of the original members, General James Forrestal, allegedly tried to reveal the truth but was declared insane and died under mysterious circumstances at Bethesda Naval Hospital. Nibiru is described as the planet of the crossing, a massive, self-sustaining craft or mother planet 3 times the size of Earth. Some say it is the New Jerusalem mentioned in Revelation, from which smaller crafts, shams, emerge. According to this theory, NASA and other space agencies know of Nibiru, and its approach has been hinted at through media reports and satellite data.